Hello everyone, it's me, Unreal Libby's here, and I'm joined by Rumble.
No.
Oh, I guess not.
That's awful.
But in all seriousness, this is two guys, one topic. Wait, no, one topic, two guys, 10 minutes, and we're
Yep.
going to be talking about
What he said.
death row, whether we think it's yes or no. Indeed.
Agreed. Death row.
So,
Death fucking row.
hear me out.
The row of death,
Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me
as
out.
some
Wait,
call it.
wait, wait, wait. To what degree are we talking about death row here? We talking about like electric chair type death row here? Or we talking about like modern death row?
Any type of execution.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, some forms of execution, for example, lethal injection, I'm pretty sure that would cost a lot more than like a firing squad, for example.
So, wait.
You
Are we
know?
talking about cost here, or are we talking about ethicality,
Uh,
or how ethical it is?
every, just everything, really. Like, cost,
Okay.
effectiveness, uh, morality, more, morality,
Yeah.
and everything in between.
Okay. So, how do you feel about death row as a whole? Let's just start with that.
Um, dude, I'm kind of torn. Like, I'm like in the middle. Like, I can definitely see why people don't like it. You know, I also feel why people do want. Oh my, dude, the G Fuel powder's getting to me, bro.
Bro, my man's snorting G
Hold
Fuel
on,
over here.
hold on, hold on. Let me say that again. Got that.
Ah!
Oh, I got that. Okay.
Okay.
I'm kind of torn, to be honest. I For sure I can see why people are against it, but at the same time I can also see why people are for it and support it. I don't know, like, I don't know, because I mean, the main thing people worry about, I feel like, is if it's even necessary to do so.
Yeah.
Taking somebody's life, even if they are, a fucking terrible person and terrible fucking criminal and all this shit. Like, some people, like, their argument is like, but you don't have to kill them, though. And see, okay, let's say, okay, I'm just gonna form a fucking situation here. Let's say fucking some dude breaks into your house, right? Kills your entire family, right?
Mhm.
Everybody's dead, even though that would not happen in your house. But let's just say it did.
Yeah.
Let's just say it did, okay? Would you want them to be dead and, like, executed?
I would go
Or
Rey
would you want
Mysterio,
to.
go on the top Raptors and just RKO them. They're down for the count. They're
Rey
done for.
Mysterio does not do RKO, you fucktard.
Shh. He's my favorite wrestler, so I had to bring him into it.
Well,
Anyway,
you don't even know his moves, bro.
no, I just thought he looked cool.
He does look pretty cool.
Exactly. See. But
But
anyway,
he is not physically capable of
shut up.
doing
You're
an
as tall as Rey
RKO.
Mysterio. I don't want to hear from you.
I'll beat the shit out of Rey Mysterio.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Fucking
Sure.
midget.
Anyway, here's the thing: if someone killed my family, intentionally broke my house, killed my family, I want them dead. Don't care. Don't care at all whether they have a family or not. They killed my family intentionally, breaking my house. They dead. Get the fireman squad. Get the just hang him
You would
town
probably
square.
be a part of the firing squad, huh?
I can neither confirm or deny that claim.
He would definitely be in the firing squad for sure.
That's like saying, Richie, hear me out. Hear me out. That's like saying if someone stole your whole supply of G Fuel, and you're like, oh yeah, don't worry
I'm
about it.
snapping their
You keep it.
fucking neck,
Exactly. See.
bro.
It's equivalent.
All this shit's like
Your
$200,
your
and I
G Fuel
just
addiction.
started.
Exactly.
I just started.
Your G Fuel
Like,
addiction.
already $200
It's like someone stealing your G Fuel from you. You know, like obviously you're gonna retaliate. Gotta get that
That's way too
fruit
fucking
punch.
far.
Exactly. See, exactly. So
Dude,
under
this shit
that
probably hits
clause,
different, man.
hang him in town square. Get him out of here.
Okay, but let's say okay, here's the thing that some people argue, right? So they're like, there's a decent chance that the criminal wants to die anyways, right?
I think
They're
okay.
obviously not right in the head to do, for example, murder an entire family, right?
Yeah.
You know, you can't be mentally stable and do that.
Yeah.
Those two things do not align at all. So there's a decent chance that they know that they're not gonna get out, because
Yeah.
they've already been tried, and they probably have life or, you know, multiple decades of
Yeah.
time, right? So they're not coming out anytime soon. So they're like, shit, might as well die. I mean,
Here's the thing though.
so
I feel like
you executing them would most likely benefit the criminal because they don't even have to do the time in the first place. You know, they're just do the crime and then just, just
I
wipe,
think that okay.
just evaporate.
We have to in the context of the situation, laws of America are no cruel and unusual punishment. But I think the best way to do it, right? Hear me out. Do a psychological analysis on the individual and try to gauge whether they would rather live or rather die, and then do the complete opposite of what they would want to do. So if they want to die, then keep them in prison for life, isolated from everybody. But
But
if they don't want to die, then you morally and ethically kill them, like in a ethical
the
way.
thing is though, okay, that might seem like a good idea at first, but if you really think about it, like that way of doing things, that will be public information in no time. So criminals are already going to know how to counter that.
Yeah, I
Therefore,
guess that's valid.
you're not really accomplishing anything.
Okay, actually, I feel like,
Maybe at the very start,
and
but
obviously,
after that, word will get around very
we're
fast.
talking
And
about
it's
this
just
like they did a crime that was high enough to where they would be on death row. Correct? We're saying this as in like
yes, you don't go on death
yeah,
row for fucking
like they're not like they weren't
not
like
paying a speeding ticket.
yeah okay. So then in that case, I say just because like there's always the possibility of them getting out or whatever, then you just kill them. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause if it's that bad
Yeah.
of a person where they're on death row and they should be on death row and not like unlawfully imprisoned. You know what I mean? I think that they should
Mm.
just do it in the right way. Like, because obviously we're not actually gonna like hang them in town square or like do a firing squad type of thing. Obviously, we'd have to like lethal injection or something like that. But I just
Yeah, I see that, but hold on. Can we talk about how death row is even legal in the first place? At least in some states, because there's a thing called the Eighth Amendment. No
wait.
cruel
Yeah,
or
no cruel
unusual
or unusual punishment.
punishment.
Here's
That
the thing
seems
though.
kind of cruel to end somebody's life, though.
But I
I mean,
feel like
I understand why you're doing it,
if you're
but if we're
on
just talking
death
about like the
row,
law here, that's like wouldn't
here's
that just be
not even
completely just like
not even all murderers go
ignoring
on
the
death
Eighth
row.
Amendment?
Not
I
even
understand that.
if you did something to the degree where you actually deserve to be on death row, like you went that far. I think it's for the betterment of the public because you don't know what's going to happen. Like people have escaped prison, people have gotten out, or they were able to get out due to trial and everything, whether they were like good or not. You know what I mean? It's like you. It's almost like for the betterment of the public, you do have to take care of them because of what they did. Because like there's
See,
always that potential that they
another
could get
part
out.
of some people, especially people that live near federal prisons and shit, they're like, yo, I support the death row because what if some of these prisoners escape and
Exactly,
they
exactly.
can break into my house and fucking do the crime again.
Exactly, because there's always that potential being escaped. So I
So
feel like
it's a safety issue,
I think if
but
they have done that degree of a crime where they actually deserve to be on death row, I think it's more proactive just in case they were to escape to ethically kill them in a non like messed up way. Like obviously we're not just gonna like suffocate them or like electrocute them in the electric chair. I feel like the lethal injection is probably the most ethical way we could probably do it, a morally just way, where it's not gonna be as painful.
yeah, but lethal injection okay, it might be like the most like moral or whatever. It's also one of the least efficient, from what I've heard anyway.
What do you
The
mean?
most efficient way of execution by far has to be firing squad. Could you just spray the bitch down?
Yeah, I know, but at the
Eventually they're
same
gonna
time, it's
die.
like you have to. Here's the thing: you have to maintain a balance between morals, like your morals and ethics, to just spending and like fiscal responsibilities. Because we don't want to lose ourselves as like a people. You know what I mean? In the unmoral and unethical ways of killing. Like, think about it. It's like once you do one thing, it's just gonna keep going down further and further. Like this thing's loud now, so then you keep going down further and further until like it just
Or
you're
fucking hanging people in public. Yeah.
exactly that you don't want that to happen. You gotta do it in a moral and ethical way that doesn't shame, regardless whether they deserve or not, shame the person that did the crime. There has to be
If
some
only
ethics
the
to it.
Eighth Amendment didn't exist.
You have to be okay. It's I'm happy it exists. You have to
Okay, but
be better than the people that did the crime. You gotta hold yourself to a higher standard and treat them better than they treated you. Give them their right to privacy and the right to go out in a unshameful way, regardless of what they did, because you wouldn't be better than they are. You know what I mean?
And I think another point is for people that are like against it, they're like, kind of what I said earlier, where like most of the criminals want to die anyways. So if you don't, execute them, they will, rot away for years and years,
Yeah.
unless they kill themselves. But assuming they cannot kill themselves, then they would just rot away for years, and that would be so much worse than just ending their life
And
by,
that's why it probably is better
ejection.
if you're in prison for life and you're not on death row. You're probably
That's just horrible. That is so much
it's
worse of a
debatably
punishment
worse.
than execution. It's so much worse.
So here's the thing. Here's the
Because
thing. It
when you die,
depends.
you fucking died.
Well, yeah,
That's it.
I understand that, but like also it debates how much that person values their life and why they value life. Because a lot of people fear death, so they'd rather live in prison than die. You know what I mean? But also at the same time, things can change.
Okay, but think about it from okay, from okay. Let's try to point this as a personal perspective. Okay, let's say.
hmm.
hold on.
So
Okay,
let's
hear
say
me out
wait
here.
let's say
Hear
Richie,
me out
you're
here.
imprisoned
Let's.
for murdering someone over G Fuel. That's the topic.
All
That's
right,
the
and
situation.
I have life. Okay,
Yeah.
but then let's say I get tried again for death row. Okay, this is kind of off topic, but death row trials take fucking years.
Yeah.
I uh, I saw something like a stat that said like the average time for like a trial is like 15 fucking years. That's unnecessary. That's really that, and that uses a lot of resources that could be used for something else. For example, prison security. The people feel
No. Okay.
safer living around prisons.
One thing that's also off topic that I think that our prisons are doing wrong is that prisons should be for rehabilitating people and not just like imprisoning them and punishing them. Because if it's not going to be rehabilitative, then it's not going to do any good for them when they get back out and they're just out in the real world and don't know what else to do than what they did before. Off topic, but I feel like
Again, but there ought to be some type of punishment as well.
well,
Because
obviously
if
that's
there's
them
no
being in prison.
punishment,
Well, that's being
okay,
them in
so
prison and not being able to go
how do
outside
you
the world.
balance that though? That seems hard to balance.
Well, it's
most of it from
rehabilitative.
what I've seen in
Okay.
prison. These motherfuckers have everything but their freedom. They have TVs. They have all the fucking drink.
Well,
It
it
bro, I saw a
depends.
video of these motherfuckers playing Madden.
Okay, it depends
Like,
on
bro,
what
like
level of
they have
prison you're
everything
at.
but their own freedom, dude.
It depends on what level of
It's
prison you're
crazy
at.
out here.
But like, let's say you went to prison for like a drug addiction, they don't rehabilitate you there. They just have you imprisoned. Then, oh, your time's up. Get out. You know what I mean? Like they don't actually help you get better or readjust to society. Or maybe you were doing like crime for so long and everything. That was your life. That's how you did things. And then you're imprisoned. You get
And
out.
then you get caught, and then you get fucked up.
Well, no, but then like you get out, you get imprisoned, and then you get out, and you don't know any other way of life because that's was your life, was crime, and like that's how you got by. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a certain degree of like I don't know. There's a certain
I mean,
degree of like where they
I've never
should be
been to
real.
prison or anything,
Well,
but
no.
it seems like let's say you're doing 5 years for fucking robbery or something. I don't
Yeah.
know, right? And you've been in crime for a while now. But this time you finally get caught. You know, you got fucked basically. So now you have to say 5 years in a federal prison,
Yeah.
where I'm sure you're pretty lonely. You might have your prison friends, but still, it's still a lonely place. That is a lot of time to think about how you fucked up
But
and
that
how when
doesn't
you get out you
necessarily
could have some type of plan
hear me
that
out though.
won't lead you directly back to the place that you want to get out of.
Here's the thing though. A lot of people who did crime did it because they didn't have any other way to go, or they felt they didn't have any other way to go. A lot of times, obviously, there is the cases of people that are just actually psychotic, or they just wanted to. But a lot of times, it's like I'm robbing people because it's all I know how to do. You know what I mean? Like when you were raised in a certain way and came up in a certain environment, you're gonna be a product of your environment. So like if that was your life, you don't know any other way of life. So you're going to fall back into that whether you're trying to or not, usually. That's why I feel like if it was more rehabilitative, it'd be a lot better. You know what I mean? Because like if they actually help people readjust back to normal life rather than just imprisoning them and not teaching them any values, as most prisons don't, you know what I mean? It'd be a lot different. Now, obviously, there's certain cases where it's like, oh, yeah, I killed 17 people because I'm actually crazy. Well, then you deserve to be in prison and you don't deserve to get out. You know what I mean? But like, if you're like addicted to drugs or you have been doing crime since before you can remember, you know what I mean? Like you've been involved in that sort of life, and that's where you came up about at. Like that's all you know. You know what I mean? So, like it's about rehabilitating people and getting them better so that they don't do it again, not just punishing them. Punishment obviously is part of it, and they're locked up for a reason, and they're stripped of their freedom because of that. But you still rehabilitate them while they're there, so they actually get better rather than just being do the same thing over and over again.
I see see a lot of this is very situational, depending on the
Yeah.
person and the case at hand. Like there will never be no perfect system. And I'm not just talking about like crime, I'm just saying like social systems in general. Like it will never be perfect. There's always gonna be
Well, no,
something in some situations that
it's always gonna be
fuck
something
you
that's
in the
not
butt.
right in us
Exactly.
because
It's
that's just
impossible to be perfect about,
that's just
especially about these
humans. You
things.
know what I mean? That's just humanity. Nothing's perfect. You know what I mean? We're all human and we all do things that
Exactly.
aren't right, regardless of how hard we try. We're always gonna do something that's wrong. We're always gonna be corrupt in some sort of way. But continue.
That seems so sad. But
I mean, it's
I mean
true.
that's
I
just
mean,
really
it's
how it
just
is, I
reality.
guess.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
how it is. You can't just like you
Yeah.
you can't just like not. It's how people are. Like everyone lies. Everyone does things they regret to themselves and to other people, and everyone is how people are. And it also it's not even necessarily always people's faults because like if you're raised in an environment in a place where it's like that's what you know and that's how you're raised and you're a product of that, it wasn't your fault, but that's what you did, and the only person that can make you better is you. Therefore, I feel like rehabilitating to an extent would help as long as they want help. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh-huh. It's just, yeah. Yeah. I see that.
Yeah.
It and another reason that people really don't like people don't support death row and all that shit is one, I mean I already kind of already briefed on this, but the time it takes for a lot of these trials, you know, like for everything to be just
Oh,
it takes too long. That's what
I
I'm trying
feel
to say.
like a
It
lot
takes
of
way too
them are
fucking long,
really
and
just
it
like
costs a lot of money.
yeah.
And it would be I saw the stat where it actually costs less money to keep a prisoner alive rather than to have them go through the entire death row process. And if we're trying to save money here, which who isn't trying to save money,
It's valid.
that is just the logical solution.
Well,
Okay,
fiscally speaking,
get
I
rid of
agree
it
with you.
because it saves more money, and you can put the extra money towards fucking, I don't know, fucking pocket pussies. I don't know, or better prison security. That, or prison, uh, what's the word? Not clubs, like fucking school club, but programs, I guess is the word. Like you're talking about, maybe put the money towards like better
Wow.
rehab programs in prisons,
Yeah.
or
Here's something.
like shit like
Death
that.
row prisoners in the U.S. typically spend more than a decade awaiting their execution. This isn't even the trial. This is just waiting to be killed. And some have even been on death row for well over 20 years.
Yeah, that's just unnecessary.
At that point,
There's
it's
no
like
need to be. Just keep them alive. It's like, what the fuck is even the point?
I feel like it's almost like they're trying to like.
Because they're spending more money because it costs money to keep them alive anyways, but it costs more to kill. So you're doing both.
I
You're
think
keeping them alive for like
that
years and years and years, and then you're killing them. That is spending more money rather than just killing them off the bat or keeping them alive.
I feel like obviously we have to maintain being ethical and morally right and just and everything. You know what I mean? But also like hold on. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how many death row trials actually end up with people on death row. So a lot of states have abolished death penalty though. Like a lot of
Yeah.
places don't do
Well,
it.
I'm pretty sure in Missouri, for example, I'm pretty sure it is legal.
Yeah,
I
we still have
think.
death. We still have death penalty.
Yeah.
And
Michael, don't fuck up here, Michael.
but like legitimately, oh wow, the most executions in a year, uh, was holy cow. So here's the thing: there are way more. Like for example, on the year 1999, there was the most executions within the past like we'll say like 40 years, right? There was the most executions in the last 40 years with 90 executions in 1999. But also in 1999, there were 279 death sentences.
Damn.
And 10 years before then, because like you said, um, like usually it's like a decade, there was 255. So even the fact that in 1999 only 98 people were executed who were already on death row, and 10 years before then, it was 1989, and there's 255 death sentences, that means that not even half those people actually got executed. So
Yeah.
really, I feel like they're almost like it's almost more cruel. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like you don't know when your time's gonna come. You know what I mean? It's like it's you just next day could be your last, and I feel like that's kind of messed up. I feel like that's ethically wrong and morally wrong because like it's almost like imagine just like being trapped in a place in like this place where isolated from the world, isolated from freedom and everything. When the next day, any day could be your last, and you don't know. You know what I mean? It goes on for years and years, and you just like.
I mean, technically, that's how we live life anyway.
Well, I
Shit,
know,
bro, I could die tomorrow.
but at the same time, it's like
Shit, I could die in 5 minutes.
it's almost like if you knew the day you were gonna die, like someone told you you're gonna die this day, and so then that is always on your mind, going round and round the clock. You know what I mean? So it's like that's mentally degrading, and I can't even imagine how people's like mental state would be. Like, can't even imagine. I really cannot even imagine how mentally degrading that would be. Obviously, they did terrible things to get on death row. You know what I mean? And there's definitely probably been some cases where people should not have been death row and they were unjustly killed. I don't necessarily know for a fact.
Yeah, there's some cases where they were wrongfully, accused in the first place.
Yeah.
And then they got sentenced, and then they got put on death row, and
That's
yeah.
it's so hard to balance You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
in one hand, death row makes sense because it's being proactive and you're trying to eliminate somebody who could harm people in the public in the future. But at the same time, if it's going to take 10 to 20 years just for it to happen,
That's just a lot of resources.
it's not only is there a lot of resources and fiscally irresponsible, it's also just wrong. Like, you're destroying them. Even though what they did was wrong, it's you gotta be
It would
better
be
than them.
more. It would be a better punishment. See, isn't prison, and all this shit about punishment? You know,
It should not
you
for depending on what you did. I feel like it shouldn't just be punishment, but yes, it is about punishment. It's about
punishment.
stripping
Yeah, so
you
it
away
would
your
be a
freedom.
crueler punishment if you just keep them alive, and it's cheaper, and there's no, backlash for keeping somebody alive for the most part, anyway. So I think that keeping them alive and getting rid of it entirely is going to be, for the most part, better for everybody. Cheaper for the government,
And also, it's not
crueler
cruel.
punishment for the
But here's the thing:
criminal.
it's. I feel like it's less cruel, but in a good way because it's like knowing your death date is so just terrible. You don't want to know when you're gonna die. You know what I mean? It's like you don't. Cause that's always gonna be on your mind, just ticking back
Yes,
there. And
but kind of off topic though, I would rather know when I'm gonna die rather than how I'm gonna die.
well, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'd rather know when.
Because
Cause I don't want to be
if
paranoid.
I know how I'm gonna die, I'm just like, let's say I
Yeah,
die by a fucking rock. I'm never gonna go outside.
exactly. And then that's gonna end
I
up
mean, I
leading to
don't
your
go
death.
outside anyways.
But
But
like,
I'm really not gonna go outside.
exactly.
So,
I'd rather know when I'm gonna die than how I'm gonna die. But that's not
exactly.
what we're
Because
talking
then
about
if I
here.
know when, I can do whatever I do before that, and hopefully go out as peacefully as possible.
Yeah, like
Hopefully, I don't get
you
shot in
can
the
learn to
fucking
live with the
chest or
fact that you're gonna
something.
die in that situation. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's different when you're just locked in a cage, basically, just constantly alone with your thoughts, basically, constantly thinking about how I'm gonna die this day, and you can't even live out your life the way you want to. Your freedoms are stripped, and you're stuck in there. Granted, a lot of
Yes,
people
but
don't deserve.
it is also deserved. But
I mean, yes,
I
but I feel
I, I
like
see what you mean.
I mean, though it's not as a long of a punishment to kill them, I do feel like it's more cruel because they're waiting so long and it's constantly on their mind. Like, I'm gonna die today, you know what I mean? Or I'm gonna die in the next 3 days or year and such. You know what I mean? I feel like it's just too cruel, and we gotta hold ourselves to a higher standard
Especially in
than
America,
yeah
we are like the world's like role models, basically.
we're supposed to be, and we don't actually hold up
Supposed
to
to be.
that. We don't hold up to that like we should.
Especially, a few weeks ago when a bunch of fucking rednecks invaded the fucking Capitol building. But that's that's a whole nother
That's
thing.
a whole
That's
different.
that's a
It's a whole
yeah,
different
a bunch
topic.
of
It
fucking
was
cult members.
it was wrong. There were people at the protests who were executing their rights peacefully and correctly, but the people that invaded that whole building, that was just a whole mess.
They're a fucking
It
cult,
was it
bro.
was it was terrible.
Those people.
We're not gonna discuss that right now. We're talking about prison here.
But the
Okay.
funniest thing is though, like about the situation, is there's like plenty of people saying Trump 2020, but like, bro, it's 2021.
Yeah, I. That is true. That is true.
And there's a 99.9% chance at that point that Biden was gonna win, unless something unconstitutional happens, which
It's
technically there was, but
we're not gonna get into that topic
yeah,
today.
that's
That's a whole different ballpark, and I don't feel like getting what's the word, harassed by the entire internet for
I
you know
mean, not like
it,
you're
it, it,
supporting them.
I'm not.
Okay.
It
So
was
then, what is there to be
well,
harassed about?
it's just there's a lot of different people. You know, there's people that agree with what they did, and there's people that don't agree with what they did. And I don't
Who
want
the
to
fuck agrees with what they did? Who is public, especially publicly? You know what? Yeah,
I don't think it's right. And I don't
support
think what
that.
happened was right, but there's
But who
definitely
is
people.
saying that they support? Like who?
Here's the thing:
Especially
you
publicly.
gotta
Who the
think.
fuck is
You gotta think
publicly
about it.
saying that?
People's perspectives are very limited. People limit themselves to like one viewpoint, which is terrible. It's a terrible thing to do. Like you're limiting yourself from so much information and everything, and so many people are biased, and so people are being fed one type of scenario that whether it's true or not,
I know,
and
but
they're
you
just
also have
believing
to
that.
blame the media for
Well, no, that's 100% media's fault. But
definitely. Media is
people are
definitely
gonna support
the
different
21st
sides.
century's worst
Oh
enemy
no, it's
is the
social
media.
media,
100%.
media and everything is such a blessing, but also such a
So-
curse. Especially like news and stuff. It's so
Exactly.
biased now. Like there's not a lot of unbiased places that you can go to find information. It's so terrible. Especially like we're like
And the
both
worst thing about it
17.
though is I don't see that changing.
No, definitely not. People are people, and they're
It
gonna have
like
their biased
it's
opinions, and they're gonna try to push their own agenda because they want to
that's the thing that
their
really
reason.
sucks.
No, it's terrible. It's obviously terrible. You know
Yeah.
what you can do is try to be smart and try to view both sides and try to figure out what actually is true, what actually is not by doing research and trying to find unbiased sources and trying to see both sides to understand truly what is happening. You know what I mean? Because like if you just stick to one perspective, like oh I'm only gonna stick to right side things or I'm only gonna stick to left side things, then you're not gonna actually know what's going on because it's gonna be so limited. It's almost like
The
almost like looking
truth
through a
is always
telescope.
hidden in the middle of both stories.
Exactly,
For
exactly.
sure.
That's definitely how it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's almost like looking through a telescope. Like you can see a lot of this small thing that people are focused on, but everything around it that is super important. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I can see Mars with my telescope, but what about the whole Jupiter and Pluto and everything? You know what I mean? It's like you can't see everything when you're just so focused in on one thing, and it's also not even all 100% true either because they're trying to push you to believe what they want you to believe and push their agenda versus like the actual general public's health, which they should be pushing and showing the actual evidence, giving out the information, and then just leaving it. You know what I mean? And people can interpret them for themselves. You know what I mean? They can't just give information anymore. They have to be like, oh, you should do this, this, and this is terrible because this, and this, or this is good because this, and this, regardless of what this person says, this, and this. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's such a limited. It's okay. It's such a like a how am I supposed to say this? It's such a time just on like just in general to be living where it's
Oh
like
yeah, this is definitely a crazy time. Like
well not even
when
just because like
we
Corona.
would look back
Oh yeah,
on these years and be like, what the fuck
like what was
going
wrong with
on?
us? Yeah, like what was going on in our heads back then? You know what I mean? Like not like it's like the
But
whole
damn,
Corona
is it
stuff
funny
and.
though? Yeah, it's funny, bro. I would definitely still be laughing about this shit 40 years from now, dude.
it's
I'd be like, damn, this shit is funny.
we somehow have so much information at the tips of our fingers, but such a limited view on everything. It's terrible. It's like I don't understand how we have the internet and all this stuff, right? But yet we can only see like this much, this tiny bit of what actually is going on. It's insane to me. I don't understand how we do that to ourselves. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a whole
it's
ordeal. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I think that's good right there. I think
Yeah.
we should end it.
I think that was a solid recording session. You know, guys, I appreciate you guys listening in, tuning in.
That was more than 10 minutes though.
That was more than 10 minutes, but I
That
liked
was
it.
like
I
25.
think that it was good though. I think that was a solid sesh. You know what I mean? Like I think it was good. I hope you guys enjoyed this bite-sized podcast. Essentially, we definitely expanded on it, but it started as one topic and it grew into like a flowery
And it just
topic.
grew.
Yeah, it grew. You know,
Grew like
just
my
grew.
penis.
Okay. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I intend to do more of these. We definitely talked about some certain what's the word, divisive things, but I think it was good. I think it was a good time. This is Rumble. Go check him out. He has some good videos and stuff.
No, I don't.
Okay. Check him out. His link will be in the description. Check my Instagram, Twitter. It will also be in the description. And if you guys want more of
Use
this,
my
let me
G
know.
Fuel code Rumble. I'm kidding. That doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. We're not sponsored by anybody, but
It
I do
really
love
does
their
not
product. Peace out.
G Fuel. Yo, hey, lol.
Hit his up. But hope you enjoyed.